Welcome in, it's tier list time right now. Today I'm doing one of the most requested tier lists I have not gotten around to yet, and that is all of the Mozart piano sonatas. The very lowest tier that I can give one of these pieces is worth a smile, because let's be honest, even the worst of Mozart sonatas still make you happy and are still worth some enjoyment. Right above that, we have Slight Chuckle, and in the middle, we have A Breath of Fresh Air. Near the top of our list, we have Elevated Existence, meaning that your mind is now functioning at a higher level because of these amazing pieces. But the very top is the peak of Pristine. Now, as always, I don't want to have 16 sonatas in the top tier, then like 2 in the next one, and none in anything else. I want to try the best I can to roughly balance out the tiers. If you're maybe newer to Mozart sonatas, I hope you can use this list as kind of a guide of which sonatas to listen to first. But just remember, even the lowest of the Mozart sonatas are still worth a smile. They are still good pieces that I like. All right, let's make fun of some Mozart. I really like how the first Mozart sonata starts. It kind of like kicks off the whole set of 18 sonatas, like joy, happiness, just this first movement is just full of so many fun tunes. I mean, there was that opening tune, but also measure 5, you already get this. Second movement of the first sonata is also really, really catchy with this. And the third movement is not bad either. So to start off, I'm kind of wanting to go into just Breath of Fresh Air. I just think this is a very nice, just relaxing sonata. I'm a little worried that throughout the course of this video, that's going to be too high. I'm going to have to push it down to make room for things above it. But I feel bad putting this one any lower than that because I do think the Mozart sonatas start off great. This is an amazing first sonata. Now, the second sonata is tough to rank relative to the first one. I probably like the first movement. It's hard to say. I think a little less. It's a little more interesting. It does a little more stuff. I probably just am more attracted to the first movement's themes. It's not bad. It's something like... However, I like the middle movement of this one a lot more than the middle movement of the first sonata. It's something like... But then it goes... But in the third movement, I definitely like more than the third movement of the first sonata. It has this little... This is not the beginning. Probably should be a lot faster, but I haven't studied this one before. So if I gave the first one a breath of fresh air, this one's also going to get a breath of fresh air. All right, guys, I need to drink a coffee before I tell you what I'm about to tell you next. Okay, now that I have a little more courage and caffeine, I'm ready to tell you that if you love the third sonata or the fourth sonata, you may just want to sit down for a second because I'm going to put them both into worth a smile. Before I go on and leave them in the bottom tier, I just want to say that just recently I was listening to a recording of the third and fourth sonatas, and I was just reminded of how much I like those pieces. So yes, they're at the bottom tier. They're trash in this video, but they're still great sonatas. All right, on the sonata number 5 in G major, I think this one's pretty popular because, one, it's just great. The first movement especially is really excellent. It's also a little more approachable than some of the other sonatas, so it's really good. It's a little more approachable. I want to give it a breath of fresh air, but then I start playing things like, measure 16 here has this... It's so much fun, man. Also this beautiful melody here with let's give it the second to top tier. I think the second and third movements are more mediocre, but this first movement is so good, and it's a great piece that exists because we can teach it because it's not, again, quite as hard as some of the sonatas are. All right, number 6 in D major. This one is great. Listen to the first measure of this. Okay, that was 4 measures, but you get what I mean. It just starts out with so much energy and joy. I love this one so much. I'm just going to put it at the top. The peak of pristine. And this really is pristine in my mind. It's just gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. It has so many cool things too. Like this, let's see, what's this? Oh yeah, the okay. On to number 7 in C major after I turn many pages. All right, on to number 7 in C major. I think this one is kind of a sneaky, really, really good sonata. Now, I know if you're a piano player and you play tons of Mozart, you're like, this isn't sneaky. Everyone knows this one. It's not as popular as some of the other really popular ones are. It is great. So this first movement starts out with like orchestra, big and strong, and then oops. Oh, before I play the second movement, the first movement also does that theme again in the development section, but it's a minor with. It's so cool. Okay, on to second movement. Now, I tend to like the second movement on the slower side. I think it is so pretty and also has so many dotted figures. I think it's nice to not go too fast. However, I understand that I'm going to be playing it a little on the slow side for an andante, un poco adagio, but something like this. Really great stuff. I'm pretty sure it's going to be kept out of the peak of pristine by some pieces that I know are coming up later. So I'm going to put it in the second category here. It's definitely stronger than the G major, though. If something has to move down, the G major will. All right, I have sonata number 8 in D major in my book. However, sonata number 8 and sonata number 9, D major and A minor, can have different numbering systems. So let's stick with what's on the screen right now. Sonata number 8 in A minor, sonata number 9 in D major. Yeah, I'm going to put this one in. Oh man, this is going to be so tight at the top. I'm going to put this as the peak of pristine, though it's close. That's a great first movement. So let's go on to sonata number 9 in my book, but on the screen we have sonata number 8 in A minor. This one starts off with. But even though I love how this one starts, I don't really like where it goes a ton. It's kind of weird to put the one of the only ones that start in minor as a slight chuckle. Ha! It's not really a chuckle piece. But it's definitely above these two because the first movement's good. I don't think it's going to make it into the breath of fresh air because there's just so many good sonatas. Changing of the guard, moving on to book number 2. Okay, sonata number 10 in C major, I don't think is near as good as the other Mozart sonatas in C major. I'm going to put it down here in Worth a Smile because, again, it's a good piece, but it doesn't compare to the other ones in my mind. Okay, sonata number 11 in A major is one of my easy favorites. It's funny. It would almost make the top tier just on the strength of. If you've been around the channel before, you already know that I love this movement because I use it as examples for things, but there's so many good things about it. Like the second half of this main theme goes. It's just so catchy. And this is a theme and variation. So that first thing you heard is going to become. Like varied, and then it becomes. It is going to make the top tier, but however, it's not only because of the first movement I love so much. The last movement also is extremely famous, which even though it's overplayed, it's like probably the most played Mozart sonata. Ooh, maybe one of those two, which, ooh, spoiler. Even though it's overplayed, it's still really good. So this one has, the middle movement's okay in my mind, but 2 really strong sonatas, or 2 really strong movements. So it's going in the peak of pristine there at the top. Okay, here's where our struggles begin. Sonata number 12 in F major. This is one of my favorites. That's great. That's great. That's great. that's great. And it also is great when it does this. Oh, there it is. The oh man, I can't keep this out of the top tier. That first movement is hands down one of my favorites. As I just showed you, it's not just one thing. It just goes from one part to the next with another great tune and another great tune. Okay, one of the D majors might have to take a hit here, but let's keep going. I spent a long time talking about this sonata in another video. It is so good. Like, that first theme is good and all. The second theme, or second movement, is actually really nice too. This but the last movement of this one is my favorite or second favorite last movement we've heard so far. It starts out so delicate with this little, and this is what I talked about for a long time in another video. So it has that cute little delicate theme. Later on, it does little things like there's a little cute reference to a cadenza, but then later we get like a real cadenza. Like the orchestra builds up something like then you get a piano solo like. So basically, it's kind of like a piano concerto, piano and orchestra disguised into just a piano sonata by itself, which you could kind of say, well, aren't all sonatas that? And no, not really. This one definitely has a more prominent feeling than most of the Mozart sonatas of like an orchestra is playing parts of it, then the piano enters and even marks cadenza, like literally the word cadenza is in the score. So I think what that means is this is going to go into our top tier. And we have to drop. I'm going to go ahead now and drop one of the two D major sonatas. I think we're going to drop number 6. I'm going to put it in between these two actually, just because I like the first few notes of number 6. I like that more than the other D major, number 9. But if you count the whole piece, I like number 9 more. So we're going to drop number 6 in D major down to just an elevated existence. This one's really, really fun. I used to have a pretty low opinion of this sonata, and then I did a video where I tried to speed learn a piece in an hour, and I made it through the exposition, kind of like memorized somewhat. This is the effect of great pieces, what they do to you. You think you don't even like them that much, and then once you study them, even if it's like for an hour, you're like, yeah, it actually is pretty cool. So I wouldn't say it goes into my top category. I'm going to put it in a breath of fresh air. However, I think, do I like it more or less than the first? I'm trying to think what my first one that has to move down. Like, of these last 4 sonatas, one can fit right here without changing anything. And then there's 3 more to put somewhere. 1 more in breath of fresh air. And then 2 need to go into slight chuckle. So something had to move down. I think the C minor sonata would be the one that moves down to slight chuckle, even though it's also a minor. What if my only 2 slight chuckle pieces are the ones in minor? That would be, I should probably do that on purpose. All right, the next one, number 15 in F major, even though I know it's a very popular one, and I'm guessing this is going to be the one that people disagree with the most, and people will skip to the end of the video and not even hear this explanation I'm giving right now. You'll skip to the end, you'll see the tears and go, oh, you don't like that sonata? I don't, and I recognize that I'm not normal for this one. This is one that doesn't grab me. I don't hear it and go, oh, I like that. It's fun. I mean, I like all the sonatas, but this is the one I think will probably get the most disagreement from the masses, I'm assuming, because I feel like this one is pretty well liked and loved and programmed. It's just not for me. For some reason, it just doesn't click with me. So we're all unique people. If I tried to make these tier lists just to match all of your opinions, they wouldn't be that interesting. And also, it would be kind of dishonest if I was like, this is my favorite piece, and I just want everyone to like me, so I chose your favorite pieces. But it doesn't click with me, so it's going down to slight chuckle. Okay, the famous K545. This almost has the like Bach Prelude in C major or Fur-Elise effect, where it's almost impossible to rank. I've heard it so much, and you hear it played so often. It's a great piece. I still love it. I'm going to put it and Breath of Fresh Air. I'm sure lots of you have it more close to the top of your list, which is totally fine. It's just for me, probably as a teacher, I've heard this piece so much. It probably does get a little hit from being so popular. I could almost move it down to Slight Chuckle. I'll have to consider if I have to move one of these 4 pieces down. It's going to be a battle which one takes the fall. I'm struggling with number 17, B flat major. I don't like the first movement as much as many people like it. The second movement is very elegant and beautiful, and the third movement is super fun, which third movement should be super fun. So I'm going to put it here. You will see why in just a second. I'll just go ahead and take the heat right now. I'm going to put it there. With that being said, I got to drop one of these down a level, and I'm going to drop the C minor down to a Slight Chuckle. And that only leaves us one piece, not number 18 in D major. I don't know why it is, but Mozart writes in the key of D major. It's just gold. I mean, I have 2 of the top and then 1 of the second tiers in D majors. Now, this one in particular, the first movement is awesome. This, but also the middle movement has a great, and the last movement's also really fun. Okay, now we have some tough decisions. I don't want 5 pieces in the top tier. I mean, I want 5 pieces in the top tier, but to not change what I already did, I want to move 1 down and make 4 in each of the top 3 categories and 3 in the bottom 2. So, I think this D major has to move down. This B flat is just too good. The F major one is really nice. That I love. That A major, then obviously the other D major I think is awesome as well. So I think I feel good about this. Those are my top 4. So I think if you listen to any of those 4, you will fall in love and declare me as the best expert on Mozart that exists in the world. I actually noticed this a couple of years ago. I just wanted to point it out in this video that my favorite Mozart sonatas tend to be packed right in the middle. Like my 4 top ones are 9, not 10, 11, 12, 13. I really like the middle Mozart, probably the best. And you can just see, yeah, 9 through 13 has 4 of my top. You take number 5 through number 13, you get 7 of my top 8. Okay, before you leave, not only do I want you to tell me what your favorite Mozart sonatas are, but with these tier lists, as I always say, they're tons of work, tons of time and effort to film and then edit. So please take a second, share with some friends, like the video, comment on, do things that help YouTube, show this video around. Hopefully this helps you too. If you're looking for some Mozart in your life, you need some good suggestions of Mozart to listen to. So I would start with these in this order. I would say would be a very, I mean, you can't really go wrong necessarily, but this is a really solid order. I think you'll really like these top 4 pieces. So give it a listen. Let me know what you think.